All right, fifth graders, so this is Mr. Combs again. We are on lesson 7, part 3. We're going to use this coordinate plane here to answer a bunch of questions about our coordinate plane. So, anyways, without any further ado, we're going to get going here now with part 3. So, give the coordinates for 3 points that are on line A. So, I'm going to look at my coordinate plane. I'm going to find line A, so line A is this one. It's going to be easier for me to find coordinate points that are exactly where two of those lines intersect. And so I can see that for line A, all of these lines are going to intersect. So I'm going to pick one down here. I'm going to label that as point A. I'm going to pick one up here. I'm going to label that as point B. I'm going to pick one up here. And I'm going to label that as point C. So as I can see on my coordinate plane, this one's a little bit trickier. So there are multiples of 10. So it's increasing my labeled whole numbers are 10, 20, and 30. So I can look at this and I can see that between 0 and 10, I have 5 spaces. So that tells me that 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2. So each one of these lines is going to be increasing by 2. So I can see that that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, okay? And then that would continue all the way on. We can just continue it. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, and 30. I would recommend labeling both the x and the y axis like this, so you can just be really sure of your coordinate points. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm going to do the same thing. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do our points for line A. So I know I'm going to go over, okay, over 4, up 4, 4, and 4. Okay, now I'm going to look at this one. So I went over 8. And then up 8, that point B is going to be 8, 8. Okay, now I'm going to do my next one. Over 12, and then up 12. So that's going to be 12, 12. Okay, and so it says write a rule that describes the relationship of the x and the y coordinates for the points on line A. So when I'm looking at these points 4, 4, 8, 8, 12, 12, I want you to think to yourself, what do you notice about this? I'll give you a second. Okay, what I notice about this is that each y coordinate is equal to the value of each x coordinate. Each y coordinate is equal to the value of each x coordinate. Okay? All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a little bit of flipping back and forth just because I have this huge coordinate plane and some questions over here. So I'm going to flip it over. Okay? And so now we look at C and it asks us, what do we notice about the y coordinates of every point on line B? So I'm going to flip this over. Now I'm going to look at point B, or line B, excuse me. So I can see that line B is just this horizontal line. So I want us to think, if we were to label this as a y coordinate, okay, it's halfway between 16 and 18. So that would tell me that that's going to be 17. And if I went anywhere on this line, that would have a y value of 17. It's not increasing or decreasing. It's just staying the same. So for this one, I'm going to say each y coordinate has a value of 17. Each y coordinate has a value of 17, okay? And so now we're gonna look for these missing coordinates for points on line D. Okay, so our first one is has an x value of 12. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here, okay? I see line D is right here. So I'm gonna go over 12 and then up to where that line meets, okay? So I see that 12, 6. I'll flip my paper back over. 12, 6. Okay, all right. And then we will go back to line D, okay? All right, and so this one has a value of 6 in our x, okay? What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna use my straight edge. I'm gonna continue this line down and see if I can get close to 6, okay? And so I see that that ends right at 6, okay? And so our x coordinate of 6 is gonna have a y coordinate of 0. 6, 0, okay? All right, and so when I look at this, I can see that my x is always going to be 6 wholes more than my y, okay? So now what we have here is we have a y of 24. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this back over. I'm going to go up to 24, and then I'm going to go all the way over, okay, to where point D would be, or line D, excuse me. Okay, I'm going to continue that line up, okay? And so I see an x coordinate of 30, a y coordinate of 24, okay? 30, 24, and so that's still keeping in line. 12 is more than 6, 6 is more than 0, 30 is more than 24. So now I'm just going to use that rule to kind of prove it, and we'll see. So my next one, 28, okay, I'm going to think about 28 is how much is 6 more than what number? So 28 minus 6 is going to give me 22. Okay, we'll see if that fits on our line D. 28, 22 over 28. And then I'm going to go up to 22, which is right here. And I see that that fits perfectly on my line. 28, 22. Okay, and then now I'm going to think about which one is larger, 6 larger than 28. Okay, so 28 plus 6 is going to give me 34. Okay, 28 plus 6 is going to give me 34, which is going to be off of our chart, but we can still use that rule, okay, to help us figure out this pattern. So if I was to write a rule for this one, it doesn't ask us to, but I'm going to do it anyways, okay? It is our y coordinate is 6 less than our x value. Y coordinate is 6 less than our x value, okay? Now we're going to keep moving to part C. For any point on line C, the x coordinate is blank, okay? And so just kind of like how B, we had only one y coordinate, we can see that line C is just a vertical line. Okay, so there's no change in that x value at all, so we just need to find the original starting value for that x. Okay, so I see that it's halfway between 4 and 6. Halfway between 4 and 6 is going to give me 5. And for every point on line C, that's never going to change. That x is always going to be 5. All right, okay, and now we're going to look at F. For each of the points lies on at least one of the lines shown on the previous page. Identify a line that contains each of the following points. Okay, so we're just going to go right across and plot these points and then go from there. So 14 and 8. So I'm going to go over 14, and then I'm going to go up 8. Okay, 14, 8. Okay, and I see that that is on line D, as in dog. 14, 8, line D. Okay, my next one, 5, 10. So I'm going to go over 5, then I'm going to go up 10. This is an interesting point there here because I see that it's on 2 lines. I can say that it's on each one of those lines. So it is on line C, okay, 510 right here, and then it is also going to be on line E. So we can remember that these coordinate points can be on multiple lines. So C and E, okay. My next one, 0 and 17. Okay, so I'm going to go over 0 and then up to 17. Okay, what we know is that this arrow shows us that this line would keep going. So 0 and 17 is going to be line B. Okay, and then here I have one that's a little bit trickier. So 15.3 and 9.3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and identify where 15 would be. 15 would be right between 14 and 16. Okay, and so 15.3 is probably going to be just a teensy bit in between there. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify where 9 would be on my y, so halfway between 8 and 9. Okay, and then 9.3 is going to be right about there. And I'm going to just use my straight edge as kind of a tool to guide me and see where it ends up. So I have it lined up. So 15.3 and then 9.3. I'm going to follow with my left-hand side, my pencil over here. I'm going to go over, 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 over until I hit where my straight edge would be. Okay, and then I see that that's right on that line of B, line B, okay? So, or line D, excuse me. So we can see that 15.3 and 9.3, it's not going to be directly where those 2 lines intersect, but we can still use what we know and our tools to help us find that. So that's going to be on line D. And then our last one, 20 and 40. Okay, I'm going to go over 20. Okay, then I'm going to go up, and I see that I ran out of room. Okay, so there's nothing else on that coordinate plane. But I want us to think of what I want us to think about here is I want us to think about what line we could see if we were to continue going up to 40, eventually intersecting with that. And if I take my straight edge, I can see that line E would intersect with that. Okay, so that's going to be line E. All right, and that is all for part 3 of lesson 7. So thanks for listening. I'll leave this up right here so you can copy down the work and have a wonderful day.